camera anyways.
Yeah, and fix the lighting. So my parents.
So can you see yourselves right now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but our parents said that when we go live first, we should give it a minute before we actually start interacting, because
there's a delay.
Yeah, there's a glitch or a delay. So even though we're live right this second,
So just tell me.
I think that should be brighter, don't you?
Yeah,
I think so.
Maybe
go
I'm
to the
just
white
blind.
light.
Yeah, let me know how you look.
That's better.
That is way better.
Yeah,
right.
I was trying to match this bulb over here.
Screw that bulb. we're gonna get a new bulb for that.
That's all. Yeah, because that bulb is like yellow.
If every addict matched each other,
Oh my! Whoa,
nobody
bro.
would
I
shine.
don't know. We're
You're
pretty
deep,
close,
bro.
We're
Get
pretty
over here and say that. No,
close.
that's deep, bro.
Nobody would.
You
shine.
just spit fire sometimes. It freaks me out. What's up, everybody? I am Johnny Ray,
And I'm Dan.
and this is 5R Recovery. When you begin with remember, what's the most valuable tool the addict has?
Their story.
Their story. You begin with remember, you choose to recover, you learn to rejoice, you become reborn, you can start to relive a life of service and helping others. These are the 5 R's of recovery.
That's right.
Love it. I think the most inspirational thing, the biggest weapon you have as an addict is your story. And that's why you begin with remember. Absolutely important. How you doing today, Dan?
I'm here, man.
Feeling
Loving
good?
life.
Yeah, it's raining
Living the
outside.
dream.
I'm soaked. That's why I took off my
I'm
sweatshirt.
dry. I don't know what you're
Fat Pat says it's 10:59. It's not. Or it says it's 11. It's not. It was 10:59.
I know.
That. He has a tough time telling time. What are we going to talk about today? We have some serious controversy going on. We are getting people to share and talk about subjects that, I don't know. We're going against the grain a little bit.
Yeah.
I've had some different responses on both sides. I've had
Me
people
too.
say, oh my God, John, you're opening up my mind to a whole way of viewing recovery and addiction. And then I've had other people tell me, Johnny, you're ruining the message of recovery. What are you doing? And you know what I say? I'm just trying to have people have the discussion.
I don't think we're ruining it. I think we're just.
I don't think we're
opening
ruining
up
it either.
and
They can go, "Ugh," you know how I feel about it.
Yeah,
But why are we not discussing the things that are important? Why do people want to fall in line? Why is it easier to fall in line than it is to go against the grain? I'm asking you. I'm not just talking hypothetically. You're actually sitting next to me. I don't know if you know that.
For me, I don't know. You all morning, man.
I'm just looking at you like, is he going to answer?
Why is it easier? Because that's what we know as addicts. We
Yeah.
just follow what we just know.
Yeah.
It's a lot simpler.
Yeah.
And, you know, there are some valuable things that I learned in the 12-step program. And, yeah, and some of that shit is falling in line.
Mhm.
But why not open our eyes a little bit and look a little deeper into this shit?
Sure. Yeah, we're not against 12-step programs.
No.
We're not against any fellowships. In fact, it says in our creed that we don't go against our other fellowships or 12-step programs. They have been in place for a really long time. They're effective in what they do. People should get a sponsor. They should go have a home group. They should work steps. Yeah, we all do, right? That's it's important. When you get into recovery, you should be doing those things. But that doesn't mean you have to not question everything that's happening in your system and in the world today.
Right.
You should be questioning.
There's a bigger
absolutely
picture.
everything. That you got to think about it. When the fellowships were created, there was no internet. Just think about that. Just wrap your brain around that when these fellowships were created, the internet was not a thing. Think about how much influence the internet has and how it's involved in absolutely everything. It's in your phone. It's on your computer. People will come out and tell you what they believe is right. And if you go against that narrative, you are shunned and ridiculed.
I know.
Just
Yeah.
like we are.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
Which
100%.
is, I don't mind that. I don't mind being on the fence. Whatever.
No, not at all.
Whatever.
I
We're
lived
going
on
to talk
the
about
fence
some
for years,
crazy
so-
stuff here, and that's good.
Right.
You want to talk about some crazy stuff?
Absolutely.
All
All
right.
the time.
You want to read an article? I decided I'm going to start with an article today. Be ready to get. Where's my phone? I will expect it to be blowing up with hate and much hate. Is addiction like cancer? Do you know how often I hear people compare addiction to cancer? You know the people who compare addiction to cancer? People who don't have cancer.
Right.
Those are the ones, the addicts that are like, it's just like cancer. It's the same thing. Have you ever been around somebody who's been going through cancer? It's not the same thing. It's
not even close.
It's not even close. Dan can speak about this from personal experience, right?
Absolutely.
How devastating has it been for you to go through cancer with Amy? I know. Good. That's it's deep. He's becoming vulnerable for you.
So actually lately it's been really bad, but so watching my wife recover from drugs and watching my wife go through the chemo and shit that she's had to for cancer are two different fucking monsters, 100%, right?
Yeah.
They had to stop her immunotherapy. She's not doing well at all. And it's the most horrible thing to watch, man, is watch somebody you love die.
Yeah. Can she just choose to not have cancer anymore?
No.
Okay.
It's not a choice.
It's
not a
definitely
fucking
not a
choice, man.
Exactly.
She didn't choose to have it in the fucking first place. It's not like it made her feel good.
One of the biggest things, like I've been talking about, which I'm sorry to put you on the sensitive.
No, it's okay,
level.
man.
This is why we're real. This is why we're raw. This is what 5R believes in. We want to talk about these sensitive subjects. This is stuff that's important. What it comes down to is fault. Like a lot of people want to place fault and blame on other things in their addiction, right? I blame it on society, or I blame it on my family or my heritage or whatever it is. What they're doing is we're programming people to stop taking responsibility for their actions. Do you know in the last 20 years, people started suing McDonald's because of their obesity problem?
Yeah. That's weird, right?
Does that make
you
sense?
chose to eat the fucking food.
Right. You're suing McDonald's. You sue the big tobacco companies for the cigarettes and the cancer that you get from the cigarettes?
Yeah.
It's fucking weird. Right?
I mean, my wife could try to do that and blame it all on,
sure, people do it all the time.
Because my dad smoked cigarettes and go down the fucking line, but really, honestly, it's nobody's fault.
When does somebody look at it and go, I choose to smoke these cigarettes, and that's why I got cancer from the cigarettes, and it was my choice to do that? Why would you sue the company that produces the product?
Yeah, it's not their fault.
Exactly. It's the same thing with McDonald's. Why would you sue McDonald's if you have a problem with overeating? Right. It's like, when do you start going, I overeat because I overeat? It's fine. Just cry, Dan. We still love you. Oh, Fat Pat.
Oh, Pat.
We love you. He's being sensitive. He's showing compassion into your vulnerability. He would give you a huge hug right now. A huge hug.
A huge hug.
That is some good stuff. Okay, so I'm going to read Amanda Whitfield. Good morning, 5R family. Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning, Amanda.
I said I wasn't going to read the comments in the middle because we're trying to keep on subject, and my dad says I'm like a tweaker on camera, like I'm all over the place.
Johnny,
you
are a tweaker.
That's normal.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting from our directors over here, our production crew, if you will. They're like messing with lights and things in the background. It's okay, Johnny. You are a tweaker. I am a tweaker. I'm just in recovery now. Okay, so yeah, see, we instantly quit putting comments out there. We haven't even started our subject yet.
Thank you, Gracie. I love you.
So I'm gonna read an article from Bree Baldwin Research Institute. I'm trying to find the date and the time. I love researching and reading things, especially controversial things. This is from an article from 1992. It's called Addiction and Treatment Research. Is Addiction Like Cancer? I'm going to read it. It's only like a page long, and then I want to get your comments on it, okay? And then we're going to bring Melissa in to get her comments on it, too. Say hi, Melissa. She'll be doing her testimony Monday night, right?
Yes.
Will you this Monday? Okay. Look at her. She's like, yeah. All right.
Now you got her on camera. She's got to stick to it.
Yes. That last time I plugged it, plugged it. Okay, so I'm going to read an article, and we're going to get people's opinions on this. Okay. Then there is cancer, and those that contend that alcoholism and addiction is just like cancer. Only someone who has not had cancer could expose such a repugnant idea. Wow. They're using big vocabulary, which means they know what they're talking about. No, I'm just kidding. Whatever. Okay, the CDC. You'll hear us talk a lot about the CDC, the FDA, a lot about it. And the reason we'll talk a lot about this stuff is because there's corruption in everything, right? And I believe the Center for Disease and Control is absolutely crazy. I believe the FDA is the Food and Drug Administration is also pretty crazy. It's definitely changed over the last year, this last year in particular, but mainly the last 5 years, because they are funded by the exact same corporations and companies that I believe are corrupt and funneling money through their organizations. We'll get into that on another date. Trust me, we're going to have a lot of these videos. I'm sorry. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Suck it in here. Okay. Okay, the CDC reports that cancer fatalities in 2011 were 576,691, and they're second only to heart disease. Now, remember, in 2011, that was a big number. We definitely have hit 100,000 with fentanyl this year. So again, it's also a big problem. Thus, cancer deaths are 21 times greater than either alcoholism or addiction annually. Comparing alcoholism and addiction to cancer is like comparing an apple to the planet Earth. It simply does not equate. They are quite literally a world apart. Consider that with alcoholism and addiction, the prescription is to attend self-help 1-hour meetings once or twice a day. Imagine that if you could get help with your cancer, all you had to do was go to a meeting. That's it.
Dude,
I can heal myself. Why? You just go to a meeting. Know where your next meeting's at. And you're like, oh, no, I have cancer. It doesn't matter how many meetings I attend a week.
Right.
I'm dying.
Well, they kind of go to meetings.
Right.
A meeting where they shove a needle in you and
pump
a bunch of medicine through you.
Don't get all like detailed and descriptive. I will pass out on you. Bro.
That's hot.
Oh.
Blood squirting everywhere.
That's hot. I thought he meant me passing out. I was like, what's gonna happen?
That's what I meant.
You sicko! Sick. We are definitely sick here at 5R, just so you know. Okay, where was I at? So often the prescription for cancer is radiation treatment that may kill the cancerous cells, but may also kill the healthy cells. Another common treatment for cancer is the surgical removal of cancerous cells from the sufferer's bodies. Sometimes these surgical procedures can be catastrophic, leaving cancer sufferers with missing parts
So
of their
what they're
bodies.
saying is they can surgically remove the disease
Of what?
of cancer
No,
at times.
yeah. It might
Can
not
they do that
work.
with addiction?
Oh, let's see where his point was. Very valid point. I see what you're doing. No, they cannot do that.
When they can take your brain away?
They can do it, Dan.
Oh.
They can't do it. I love it. Way to bring it
Weird,
up.
right?
Way to interrupt me in the middle of my.
Sorry,
He's swirling it, bro.
I love it.
I'm just kidding. Okay. Anyway, so sometimes these surgical procedures can be catastrophic, leaving cancer sufferers with missing parts of their bodies, such as their tongues, bowels, intestines, kidneys, parts of their lungs and livers, and so on. A little graphic. A little graphic. People who get cancer do not choose to get it. For example, cancer sufferers never say, I dabble in cancer, or I only have cancer socially.
I only booty whap.
I only have cancer. I only have cancer socially. That is a horrible thing. That's why I chose this article, is because it's hilarious.
Oh my God,
like these
dude.
people actually like break it down to you, right? And like again, this is just our opinions at 5R are not law. Should
No,
I have said that at the
absolutely
beginning?
not.
We do not know everything. I do not know everything. I just want the discussion to be presented to people. I want them to have an open outlet to talk about things that might be uncomfortable. That's all. I don't know all the answers to everything. I'm not saying what I know is the way it is. I'm saying that the discussion needs to happen so that we can come to a conclusion to help out the problems that are happening in this world.
Right.
We need to we fundamentally at 5R want to approach people's perspectives of addiction and recovery differently. That's all. We want you to view it and look at it from a different perspective than we have over the last 20 years. Because if you've noticed, over the last 20 years, it's just getting worse. When you go to Seattle, a month later, you go to Seattle, and it's way worse than it was the month prior. There's no progress being made. These harm reduction models are dangerous. These housing first initiatives are dangerous. These are all things that our legislation and our people who think they know what's best for us are wrong, in my opinion. But it's just my opinion. Okay. It's like what do they call that? A service announcement? Service announcement from Johnny Ray. It comes across the screen. What Johnny says is not necessarily accurate 100%. He does not know all the answers. And it's like, and then I start talking and people are like, this guy doesn't know shit. He's just some guy who's entertaining to watch, right?
It could be that.
I move my hands
that's
a lot,
okay. We
so
like
I must be
entertaining
right.
people.
Okay, sorry.
Really.
Okay, people can get, so I love that. I only have cancer socially. Or if it gets too bad, I'll quit my cancer. That's another one that people say, right? Cancer sufferers rarely, if ever, have any choices in the matter. They may have a genetic predisposition. Oh, I love that they used that. They may have a genetic predisposition for contracting cancer, and or they may have behaviors such as smoking that result in the production of cancerous cells. But everyone that smokes does not get cancer. I love that because that is exactly what Amanda Whitfield says, and she is 100% right. And she is on here, so if you hear me, Amanda, that is, and I agree with that 100%. Just because somebody has a genetic predisposition doesn't mean that everybody gets it, right? Amanda's very smart on that. You can listen to her talk about it. It's very educational. It's amazing. That's why she's on our crew. Okay. Let's see. However, it is accurate to observe that everyone who does smoke has a higher probability of developing cancer than those who don't smoke. That said, smoking is not a disease. It's a choice. The resulting cancer is a disease. Mm-hmm. So that's good too, right? Mm-hmm. So if we pick up a cigarette, we get the disease of cancer from the cigarette, but the smoking portion is not the disease.
Right.
It's the cancer that comes from it.
It's the cancer.
That's a good way of determining it. You're welcome. We love you, Amanda. You're awesome. She says thank you. Okay, I'm going to finish this. And I'm going to stop talking in between it. We'll be here for freaking hours.
It's all right.
It's okay. Recovery all day long. Chime in. Okay, currently cancer is beyond cancer sufferers. Self-control, but alcoholism and addiction is well within the control of users. Alcoholism and addictions are cognitively chosen behaviors. And as such, drug and alcohol users by the millions have stopped using drugs and alcohol permanently. If cancer was just like alcoholism and addiction and people could choose not to have cancer, then there would be no cancer. Deep. So even the thought of alcoholism and addiction being just like cancer is an effort against the sensibilities of mankind. It is clear that alcoholism and addiction are not a disease and are not just like diabetes, heart disease, cancer. Yet this travesty, believing alcoholism and addiction are just like diabetes, heart disease, and cancer, pervades every nook and cranny for American society. Inexplicably, including such segments as medical community, the intellectual, which is educational community, and the public media. The saturation of this hoax perpetuated on American culture is complete, and is perpetuated by state and federal governments, by the medical establishment, by the drug and alcohol treatment industry, entertainment industry, educational establishment, news media, and by pharmaceutical companies. Everything that I just read right there is absolutely 100% why everybody believes it's a disease, because these things control the world, all of those companies. Okay. Even more remarkable is that all credible research and immutable evidence refutes the disease theory of alcoholism and addiction. In a slightly modified version of St. Augustine's famous quotes, right is right, even if only a few are saying it. Wrong is wrong, even if nearly everyone is saying it. BRI researchers have for more than 2 decades studied the origin of disease theory and a credible source that refutes the disease theory. These people have studied it for the last 2 years, and that's why they've written this paper. Okay, so I'm going to finish it. That's it. What do you think about everything I just wrote, Dan? And then Melissa, you're going to come in and talk about it. Or what I read, yeah.
So, this is a touchy subject for me, man.
Touch it, bro.
And a lot of that shit just pisses me the fuck off, to be honest with you, because watching my wife suffer from fucking cancer and not be able to do a fucking thing about it, for somebody to compare their addiction to that pisses me off. I would never, ever compare my addiction to that. Mm-hmm. My addiction is a mindset and it's a choice. Mm-hmm. My wife's disease is killing her, literally killing her.
Truth.
Without a fucking choice. Yeah. So it's nothing. They're not even anything alike. Yeah. Addiction is something you enjoy, dude. Agreed. It's the only reason I fucking did it. I didn't do it because I didn't like getting high.
Exactly. No crap. Wait, what? Don't pay attention to who's back there.
And fucking, you know, I don't see my wife on any fucking set day of going to get treatments or whatever, getting needles put into her. None of those feel good. Mm-hmm. None of them make her go woo. All of them make her fucking sick and miserable, dude. And honestly, right now, we're at a standstill with it. We don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad.
It's fucked.
I hear a lot of people use this term, which is why we're talking about it. Okay, because I hear a lot of people that want to place fault somewhere else, and you know, the disease argument has always been one. You know, I've read articles on both sides of the spectrum. I have definitely made my choice of where I see addiction falling, and that's not. It doesn't mean that it's not sad. It doesn't mean that it's not difficult. It doesn't mean that it's not painful. We're not discrediting that. What I do get frustrated with is the people who say that it's like cancer are the very same people who have never experienced cancer themselves.
Right.
That to me, it just doesn't feel right with me. It doesn't sit well with me. And it's for the same reasons that we read in that article. You know, know where your next meeting's at. That's not going to help cancer.
No.
You know, it's you know, get a sponsor. That's not going to help cancer.
Right. I mean, there are support groups that help with the mental part of cancer, but
she can't just stop having cancer because she doesn't want to have cancer, right? And so, and it's like the same thing. I love what Dan said about using drugs. Was fun for me. I loved doing drugs. That's why I did them. Right. That's why. So they were great until you live in a ditch. Right. And they're not so fun anymore. Yeah.
So well, that's just the environment you're in because of the drugs. The drugs still felt good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have even done
it. Why would you do them unless they felt good, right? Melissa, do you want to answer on this?
Sure.
Okay. No, you want to? You're moving, Dan?
I'll move.
All right. Come on in.
Yeah, get me out of that for a second.
Addiction is several things: a predisposed gene, severe trauma, spiritual, void of connection, and personal choices. This is my personal opinion. Thank you, Amanda. That's awesome. You have a great with Johnny. May not have all the answers, but he makes sure that he's educated on something before he speaks out. Gracie, thank you for that comment. God, I love when people support me. Oh, I'm just kidding. It's awesome. So, Melissa, what do you think about it? And your honest opinion without our influence.
My mom passed away from cancer. She had throat cancer, and they went in and tried to do surgery to get rid of it. Mm-hmm. But when they opened her up, the oxygen got to her, and she came out with a feeding tube. And last I saw her was on my birthday in 2005. And she's like, I was going home. She's like, give the babies a hug and a kiss from me. And she knew something was going to happen. Wow. And 2 days later, she had blood around her heart from the cancer. I guess it just spread to her body.
Was she ever an addict?
She drank a lot.
Did the drinking cause the cancer?
I would have to say
I'm just
probably.
Curious. Yeah.
Probably.
Wow. See, that's nuts. We haven't really even thought about that. Like how much addiction has caused See, and this is something that I know is a touchy subject for Morgan, right? And it's got to be a touchy subject for you because we don't know if Amy's cancer was started by that, right? Morgan, am I wrong or no?
So
Same with you, most obviously.
all that they know is that it wasn't started by smoking. So they're like almost 100% sure that it was caused by her addiction.
Wow. And so, what exactly is the cancer that your mom has?
I can't remember the name. It's really fancy and hard to say.
Yeah.
But she has a metastasizing cancer in her lungs.
Oh my God.
So probably lung cancer then.
Well, it is lung cancer. It's just the type of lung cancer.
Right.
I can't remember what it's
Right.
called.
And my grandma passed away from lung cancer too. So I mean, cancer, and my aunt had breast cancer. So it runs in our family.
Mm-hmm.
So in that situation, I say it is genetic.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got to be careful. In certain situations, not situations, but with my health, I have to be careful because I don't. God, I would never wish it on anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody.
Do you smoke?
No.
Did you ever drink?
Yeah, you used to drink. Yeah.
So the reason why do you think I asked that question?
Because of drinking.
Well, not
That's
just
true.
that, because of the cancer that runs in your
Right.
family.
Right.
You would think it would make you not want to drink.
Right.
Right.
Well,
I'm not trying to pick on you. I'm just this is what we're talking.
I come from a bunch of alcoholics in my family.
Mm-hmm. Were they
that's
drinking
just-
it? Did they always drink around you when you were young?
Yes.
Yeah. So influence was definitely a part of that.
Yes, very much so.
Wow. See, and I feel like I think that what you talked about, like addicts going through their addiction and then developing cancer because of the addiction that they had, is something that's it's crazy, right?
The
It's
only
so
one
difficult.
and the only one that ever, I think, realized it was an addiction was my grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe my uncle, but other than that, none of my family did.
Yeah.
It's like, and with cancer, if you catch it at the right time, you can, if you're in the right stage of cancer, or in the beginning stage, I should say, you can possibly get it, but you expose it. Like I said, when my mom got opened up, that oxygen just attacks it, and it just spreads all over your body.
Yeah.
And it's like, then it just...
So do you think it's fair to compare cancer to addiction?
I mean, I think in some instances, addiction has a part to play with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's fair to compare it. No.
Okay.
No.
See, and I like that you said that because I think people... Oh my gosh, Morgan's raising her. This isn't like a pick out of the audience. So you want something to say? You can come over with me. Okay, come on in. Come on in, Morgan. All right, she's got, and then I know the two ladies on the camera. Go for it, ladies. This is some good discussion. I really like this, even if it's like a little.
I'm sorry, Johnny, for that.
No, you're great. That's great. Right.
Okay, so to me, I think that addiction has similar traits as a disease or as cancer. So, like, I don't think it should be called a disease necessarily, but I think it has similar traits as a disease. So it's really hard to get rid of. And some diseases you can get rid of, but it's not easy.
It's
hard.
That's honestly, I'm gonna have to get in camera for it because that's just my
No,
small
where does
little...
choice fall into both cancer
and not only
and
that, compare it to what your mom's going through.
It is definitely not even close to an addiction. Like, addiction is not even close to being called a disease when it comes to something like that.
Well, where does choice fall into both?
So an addiction is your choice. Because you make that first decision to do what you decide to do. And you have to deal with the repercussions of it. It's literally, as you said earlier, like, you can go to a meeting and it can help you get rid of your problem.
Yeah.
A disease, you have to go through, like, it's different. Most of the time you can't get rid of them.
Yeah.
And like, when it comes to my mom's addiction and her cancer, her addiction, she was able to stop. Her cancer, she's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, my mom wasn't able to stop her addiction.
Wow.
She drank a gallon of wine a day.
Yeah, but she could if she wanted.
She could if she wanted to.
If
but
she wanted to, she could.
But she obviously didn't because she was so addicted to drinking a gallon of wine a day that. And she also had a boyfriend that drank all the time too. So, it was kind of went hand in hand. So he was drinking, she drank. He was drinking, she drank. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And I'm sorry, I gotta say something because if I don't say it now, it won't come out. If somebody's going through cancer, if somebody's going through cancer like that, why not let them have that gallon of fucking wine a day? What's the matter?
No, I don't think.
No, I'm sorry, dude.
I don't think she knew because she wasn't drinking. Well, she was drinking when she found out, but when she had the surgery, I don't know if she was drinking or not. I really wasn't there, but
Well, my point behind that is that maybe that's why she continued to drink.
right.
I mean,
So
I don't know.
something that just popped in my head is an addiction can be influenced, a disease cannot.
ooh.
Right. You're right.
That's a good point. Very valid. I love your guys' discussion.
And I believe that my mom was influenced.
I think that an addiction can act like a disease. I think it can have. It's kind of like mental properties, or even like the drugs themselves can act in certain ways like a disease.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like when you have like a cold and it starts acting like COVID, but it's still a cold. It's mimicking something else.
Right.
It's like it's mimicking. Addiction is mimicking a disease, but it is not a disease.
Right. Well, and that kind of brings me. So I'm going to jump in here because I want to read about insurance. That's awesome. That was a very well good point. Let's see here. What do I want to say? Right here. Okay. So the same people that say it's a disease and the same ones that are writing the prescription. I got another quick article. God, they're commenting a lot. Do you want to read the comments, Melissa? Read the name, and then can you see it?
Yeah, we've got 3 minutes.
Okay. So Fat Pat says it's 11. Where are you guys? Just read every name and the comments.
Gracie Jones says good morning.
Mm-hmm.
Pat says good afternoon. Pat says it's fine. Just cry, Dan. We still love you.
Oh.
Amanda says good morning, 5-hour family. Gracie says yes, Dan. Judgment free zone. Let it all out.
Mm-hmm.
Amanda says the lighting looks so much better.
Nice.
Amanda says hi, Melissa. Pat says to give you free money.
Oh, that's good.
Val says because Val or
Uh-oh.
shoot. Sorry.
Also, that's because he fixed the lighting.
Yes, Val.
I said Val says because Val fixed the lighting.
That's awesome. Good
Melissa
job, Val.
says hi, Amanda. Melissa says yes, Val fixed the lighting. Amanda says thank God. Amanda says Val is just a rock star, period.
Oh.
Val says heart. Amanda says perfectly said, Johnny. Gracie Jones, Johnny may not have all the answers, but he makes sure that he's educated on something before he speaks on it. Amanda says, thank you, heart.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Amanda says, yes, Gracie Jones, great point. Amanda says, addiction is several things. Predisposed gene, 2, generational trauma, 3, situational, 4, void of connections, and 5, personal choices. That is my personal opinion.
Love that.
Val, shoot.
Okay, I had you do the comments because I thought you would just crush it.
Yeah.
She's like, I have no idea why it keeps jumping like 6 because people are commenting at the same time.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah.
Val says
You're
they
good.
both can be put into remission, but also both can return.
Ooh.
Amanda says, good point, Val. Pat says, show off. Amanda says, laugh out loud, Pat. Amanda says there's now links to smoking off foil linked to early stages of diseases like Parkinson's,
Oh, yeah, she's right.
Alzheimer's, and dementia. Just a little side note.
Good side note, Amanda.
Amanda, yes, Morgan, you said it perfect. You just said it perfectly. Amanda, can we bring up the situations where people are in pre-stages of certain diseases and are told the warning signs and what will make the disease full-blown, yet still continue high-risk
Stop right there. So that's a good one. Yes, we can. And that's it. That's an important thing but here's the thing. If you stop doing something that, say, further continues your cancer, the possibility of it still growing is still there.
Right.
Whereas if you stop doing addiction, It doesn't affect you anymore. Do
Exactly.
you know what I mean? So, like, if you were to lock a person into a jail, this is a great situation. I'll just lay out a scenario. So, take two people, one with cancer, one with addiction. Put them both in a jail cell, okay? Don't give the one with addiction any drugs. Don't give the one who's going through cancer any kind of treatment. The person with cancer is still going to be there. The person with addiction is now clean and sober.
Yep.
It's not the same thing, in my opinion. That's just my
Perfectly
opinion.
said. Jordan.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so keep going. But very good question. And yes, there are people who have lung cancer who continue to smoke, right? And it's because
My wife's one of them.
right. What? Oh man, that's
Don't get me started.
Yes.
Amanda
Oh, my
says,
gosh.
like diabetes, if you have predisposition to diabetes, you're told to watch your food and take portion control and sugar, yet many don't stop. Bad eating habits. See, there's gray area here too.
Yeah,
And that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to do what they want to do. Either they're going to stop, they're going to eat healthy, and they're not going to eat so much sugar. But then you've got to watch your sugar content, because if you don't have enough sugar, then you can bottom out on your sugar. If your diabetes is that bad, you've got stages of diabetes too.
Your very first sentence though was, people are going to do what they want to do.
Amanda says right.
A choice?
A choice. Exactly.
Amanda says right,
Sorry.
but there is a gray area where choices always end up playing a part. Exactly. So if you don't care that you got stage 2 is the worst in diabetes, or you're a pre-diabetic, so you're borderline, and you keep eating all that sugar and you know that you're not supposed to have all that sugar, then you're just putting yourself at risk.
I love that Amanda, because she does this voice to talk thing. Okay, Amanda, all right? Remember what I said?
Exactly.
Now you're just having a conversation with yourself, and this we would call crazy, right? A little bit on the crazy side.
Type 2.
So we're not going to, we don't need to read about those. Melissa, thank you. So she's going to share her testimony on Monday nights.
Monday night.
Okay, or this Monday night
This
at
Monday
7
night,
o'clock. Please
7
tune in.
o'clock with
This
Johnny.
Monday night.
This Monday night.
Thank you, Melissa.
Oh,
Why
hey,
don't you
hey,
get back?
hey. Come on, Amy.
Yeah, let's talk about this, Amy. Come here.
I gotta get up.
Thank you, Melissa. You're awesome.
The one person that can get the insight is you.
Yeah.
Let's see what John.
I look like boo.
Honey, it's okay.
You look beautiful.
You're amazing.
Being paid to say
I'm being paid to say.
I'm just kidding.
No, just kidding. So, you know what our subject is today, Amy?
I kind of got a little tiny bit of a rundown, but what is it?
How people compare addiction to cancer.
How they compare the disease of addiction.
Yeah.
There's
Well, it's not a
there's
disease, but
such a big difference. Like no.
Okay.
They're not
So
the
talk
same.
about it. Since this is coming from somebody who's an addict who now has cancer, talk about the differences.
I don't have the want to go get more cancer.
That
I don't have the want.
was the greatest thing ever. That is so true. It's so good.
I don't feed for it in the morning.
Uh-huh.
I don't.
I don't want to go out and get more cancer.
I don't want to go through chemo and radiation.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is that cancer is something that goes undetected every single day until it is, and the outcome of it is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to a treatment center and get help to obey those feelings and urges that you get with doing dope, that you don't get that comfy little, I'm sober now, yay, life is great. You don't get that stuff with cancer. It's an ongoing battle that happens for me a lot.
Do you think it's selfish almost to compare addiction to cancer?
Yes, it's very selfish.
Do you think like the choice? I love how you said you don't go out and choose more cancer. That's hilarious to me. That was something I would have never thought of to even say or think about. That's so true.
Yeah.
So difficult. And do you believe that your addiction caused you to have cancer?
Yes.
So
Drug induced in a sense, like I smoked a lot of meth. It went in my lungs more so than cigarettes did.
Wow.
At some point, we were more enthused in getting our dope and then going and finding halfies to smoke after we were done getting high than we were. You know what I mean? Like, the thing is that what you also don't see is that when I go up to do chemo, the people who you watch and see who are struggling to just make it out of that chair that day, to make sure that that stuff gets in them, to hopefully one day that they'll feel better. And sometimes those people never feel better and they get sick, and you know, their families, it's not like addiction where, yes, addiction destroys your life, do not get me wrong,
For sure.
that
We're
it
not
does.
saying that. Yep.
That it does, but my mother isn't sitting in the chair next to me while I do my dope.
Yeah.
Where my mother sits next to me at chemo
Mm-hmm.
to be there for me, and to, you know, like my husband and my kids and all of them. Like, the difference for me is there's a big difference. It's just hard to put into words. Like, reality of it is that in the beginning of our addiction, whether we have both parents as addicts or not, which makes us
Whatever the word is, yeah.
predispositioned or whatever, it's not like that with cancer. It's not predispositioned. I can't tell my kids, don't do this because you'll get cancer.
Right. Well,
You
some
know what I
cases, smoking.
Well, some cases, I
Yeah.
suppose, yeah. But not like,
Her cancer is not a smoking cancer.
it's
No,
not.
I know. I'm saying that
Yeah.
there are smoking cancers.
Absolutely.
But because of how much dope I smoked, I weakened the part of my body that it decided to pop up in. Which is, for me, it was my lower left lung. And it sat there. Instead of, you know, getting high and being done and over with, it just sat there and grew and grew and grew and never left. So, and the only reason why, I guess the reason why I feel like it's drug induced more so than just a cancer is just because, look at the obvious. Look what I've done to my body. What is the thing that I've done to it the most that would break it down to even give it the opportunity to grow?
Yeah.
And that would be me smoking dope for as long as I did.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And, you know, you get cancer and you don't necessarily, you know, decide to live in a tent, sleep out in the cold to get
Right.
more of it. You know what I mean? You don't.
You ain't going robbing Walmart.
You don't steal
To
from
get
your
more
family.
cancer.
You don't steal from your family when you get cancer and abandon your kids and live in a car across the street at the Rainbow Tree. You know, you don't do that with cancer.
I love you, man.
Yeah, that's
I'm just
awesome.
being honest.
That's so awesome. And
you know.
Amy, we love you. We support you. We're here for you. You help so many people with your story.
Yeah.
I did say I was going to try to cut it to 30 minutes. We're already at 40.
I'm sorry.
No, you're great. I'm supposed to go help my family today, so we're not going to do the normal hour thing. But yeah, keep tuning in. We're gonna I have tons of articles that I'd love to read and touch up on and get people's opinions and views on. It's really these subjects are important for us to talk about.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's important for us to touch up on subjects that are uncomfortable.
And I also feel like at some point you have a choice, whether it's before you ever do dope,
Yeah,
or when you get clean,
yeah,
or when you have your, you know, your God moment.
yeah.
You at that point hopefully are in a position where you have a choice to
I agree.
decide whether to continue to go forward with your drugs or to get yourself sober. And there's a difference in cancer. You don't get a choice. Once you have it, you have it, and it never leaves.
True, and I think it makes it really selfish of people to compare it.
Right.
But again, it's in everything. It's the way we view everything. And so next week, what we'll talk about is insurance. I want to talk about why people started calling it and labeling it a disease so that it benefited for them to be able to have their treatment paid for through insurance. Again, me and Melissa had an interesting conversation about insurance on the way here. You know, you go to a doctor and they won't see you if you don't have the correct insurance. And that was something that was never happened, 100 years ago. It happened in the last 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, because what ended up happening is people were started funneling money through these corporations and through these medical facilities. And you got to think everybody that's telling you all of these things are being funneled through the pharmaceutical companies. So the FDA, the CDC, these powerful companies that are labeling it as what they're labeling it as are actually receiving government grants and funds from pharmaceutical companies.
Wondering about that. I was wondering if that was the reason why they labeled it the way they did to
That's exactly
help
why.
the pharmaceuticals pay for their mistakes.
Exactly. The same people who created fentanyl are the same people that are creating Suboxone to deal with the fentanyl crisis. The same people that created COVID are the same ones that created the vaccine to deal with COVID. Why is that? Why? Well, because money
Well,
funds it.
then they screw up and then they got to fix it.
And then they
somehow.
got to fix it. Exactly. But they're like, hey, if we can get everybody on board with our mistake and make it seem like it's not so much a mistake and get them believing the way we will, they'll fall in line and they'll do whatever we tell them to.
Right.
That is a problem in the world. So thank you all for watching. Should I plug our stuff real quick? Plug it? No?
What's that?
I don't know. You know,
You
plug
are
our
loved
stuff.
and wanted.
You are loved and wanted. So Monday nights we will be live. Melissa will be sharing her story. Come see us here every Saturday at 11. We will be doing YouTube live here, and we're supposed to get Val in, but Val, I have to cut it short. I'm so sorry, bro. The other thing is, let's see, our meetings are Tuesday night at 6:30 at New Life Church. Come see us there. Fridays, we're going to be going back into the Diversion Center starting this week. There's going to be all sorts of new stuff. We speak here at Higherline Oaks the second Saturday of every month. We speak at 5th Street the last Sunday of every month. The calendar's starting to get full, and people are really starting to embrace what we're talking about in recovery. They
That's
really are
awesome.
starting to approach this in a way that, like, man, we really need to start addressing some of these serious issues.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's we're getting supported. Yes, we do get backlash, but whatever.
I don't care.
Hate is gonna hate.
That's right.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, well, there's also a saying that goes, your opinion of me is not for me to live up to.
Oh, love it. Killed it. Way to close it out. Amy. Love you guys. Thank you for everybody who participated, and we'll see you next week.
That was perfect closing.
Did that make